Live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Just Bernard Show. We've got an interesting discussion and topic to cover this afternoon, and I'm glad to be here with all of you, and thank you for joining me. It looks like I'm a little dark here. I want to see if I can fix the light a little bit. Yeah, that's a little better. Anyway, so welcome. Let me say hello to a few of you. Let's see if there's anybody on the chat yet. Oh, I see Julie Davis on Facebook. Hi, Julie. Good to see you. And I see Terry. Hi, Terry. Good to see you, too. And so this last week? I guess it was. Oh, no, it was last week. Last week's show was my, what was it? The 15th anniversary of my YouTube channel. I can't believe it. Anyway, so it got me a little nostalgic, and I went back and I started looking through some of the older articles and posts and whatnot on my website. Now, granted, this is the third incarnation of my website, the one that's up now. But you know, when you switch platforms from one to another, you don't want to lose all the old articles. And anyway, there was an article that I have carried through all of the incarnations of my website. And it's an article by Steve Pavlina. And anyway, so I started reading it again. And I think I actually posted it on my Facebook page a couple weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? This would make a fantastic course. And I'm like, you know what, I think I want to create a course out of it. And the name of the article is How to Switch Dimensions by Steve Pavlina. For those of you that don't know, he's a fellow consciousness person who writes a lot of stuff and teaches a lot of courses and whatnot. But he's nice enough to let us, I haven't done it in a long time, but he lets us post his articles on our websites as long as we give him credit, etc., etc. But with that being said, I was looking at it and I was like, you know, this reminds me of the intention process that we talk about. It reminds me of ceremonial magic. It reminds me of doing spells and for self-improvement and self-awareness. And I was like, you know, let's do a short, you know, regular weekly show on it. And so that's what I'm doing here today. I wanted to use that article as inspiration. I want to use that article as inspiration, not only for today's talk, but also, like I said, I'm thinking about creating like a full-blown course out of it. Because I do feel that, well, let me just jump right into the material and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I want to say hello again to a few of you that have popped on in the meantime. I see Becky is on YouTube. Hi, Becky. I see my fabulous former co-host, Eve Dally, is on Facebook. Hello there. And I see Liuben on, I hope I'm saying that right, on YouTube. And I see Cindy on Facebook. So thank you all for being here. So, as you know, whenever I do a ritual or a spell or whatnot, I use kind of like a template of visualizing what it is that I choose to bring into my life. And when we do it together here on the broadcast, we usually will, I'll help you and guide you through to create the visualization, to see yourself in it, etc., so that we can bring it in. The difference between that and what we're going to be talking about today is that instead of creating the thought form, when we're doing a spell or something, we're creating a thought form and we're, sending it energy, and then we release the thought form, and then we just forget about it and we let it, grow and let the universe fertilize it and energize it. This is a little bit different in the sense that with this particular method, you're meditating on it on a regular basis. You're constantly feeding that other you. Now, this is where the idea of switching dimensions comes in. Right now, you, me, and you, me, all of us, we are focusing on one reality, right? We're focusing on this reality. I'm focusing on the reality where I'm sitting in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm in front of the camera, in front of my screen, talking to you, and doing my show. You're watching me, whatever it is, our day-to-day where we are. But it is what it is that perhaps we want to create, or that we want to bring into this reality, exists on another dimension. In other words, there's another you and another me that is already living that life or experiencing that experience that it is that we want to bring into our focus and into our day-to-day life. And I hope this isn't going to get too confusing. This gets very abstract thinking, so try to follow along, and forgive me if I lose you. Hopefully I can bring you back. So we have to imagine that, first of all, we have to imagine that there are multiple dimensions of reality, and there are alternate realities of ourself. The way I like to look at it, for me, is that almost in a way that karma, and I mean karma in the broad sense, not positive or negative, just the power of karma sends a ripple, and with every action, word, deed, thought, or whatnot, we create a new timeline. So let's look at the fact that in the timeline that we're all kind of believing that we share together right now, let's say, for example, when Reagan was president, he started World War III, knock on wood, but that could have been a timeline. Let's say that we live in a timeline where socialized medicine exists in the United States. Somewhere along the line, there could have been a decision or an action made to where that timeline took off. Now, those of you who've been following me for a while, especially back in the 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013 era, I used to talk a lot about alternate timelines and exactly this concept of how one decision we make, or one decision the powers that be make, or one decision that world leaders make, or healers, and et cetera, can really alter our timeline. I'm sure you've watched enough movies that justify exactly what we're talking about here. So every choice you've made thus far, every choice I've made thus far, has created a certain experiential timeline for each of us. If I chose, let's say I chose to start my spiritual career back when I had my shamanic vision quest back in 1992, my life would have been very different, but instead I was very apprehensive. I was very apprehensive and still am a little apprehensive, but I could have existed in a completely different timeline than what I'm living in right now. And so on and so on and so on. So different choices create different outcomes, but within all of those choices, the choice that was not made still exists in a parallel See the little different Earths? A parallel Earth or a parallel timeline. So it's up to us, if we so choose, if we want to switch dimensions, to bring that reality or align ourselves with that particular, I don't want to wear out the word timeline, but that particular vibrational experience is another way of saying it. So before I move on, before I lose all y'all, let me see if anybody's asking anything here on the chat. Oh my goodness, someone on Twitch is spamming. Finally, someone writes to me on Twitch and it's a spam. But anyway, let me say hello to Kishori, Demetria, I love that name, and Pam on Facebook. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Pam. Actually, I'm going to walk everybody through this. So we kind of talked about it a little bit from an abstract point of view. So let's kind of break it down a little bit. So, and I probably already said this. So just imagine for a moment that, and we don't even need to confuse it by saying a choice that we made in the past, but let's say just our focus and our attention. Let's say there's a version of you that is much more happier, a version of you that is much more healthier, a version of you that is much more prosperous. These are all the types of energies that we usually draw into our life when we're doing intention work or spell work, healing, prosperity, love, etc., happiness, inner peace. Now, the key is, and I talk about this all the time when we're doing intention work or spell work, the key is to feel that, to become one with that idea. I remember, maybe about 10 years ago, when I was starting to do this work more publicly, that there was just so much I wanted to do. And it got so very overwhelming. My focus was being pulled in 20 different directions between, wanting to save the world, my activism, my healing work, my pagan magical work, and even within that, the things I wanted to do within that, I was being pulled in so many different directions that it was very difficult for me to align and or feel myself as that person, feeling at one with that, whether it be that activist, whether it be that magician, whether it be that healer. Yes, I was able to, what's the word I'm looking for? I was able to compartmentalize as needed. Yes, if I'm doing a show on activism, I would do activism. If I was at a protest, I'd be an activist. If I was doing a healing session, I was doing a healing session. But within all of that, I felt kind of stuck. I feel like I had a lot more to offer, and I felt I could do much more, but it was just a matter of trying to figure out what it was. So for many years, I would say from 2013 to about 2016, 2017, a lot of my spiritual work focused on awareness and discernment. You probably heard me use those words for 4 or 5 years during those times. That for me, it was about becoming more aware of what I really wanted, becoming more discerning as to what I'm giving my attention to, and meditating on the clarity to know what direction is the best to go in. Now, that's not to say that, if you're unhealthy, by all means, we want to focus on healing. If we are dealing with prosperity and economic issues, of course, we want to focus on abundance and prosperity. Sometimes life does give us these nudges, letting us know what we don't want. But with that being said, it's imperative to be able to feel at one with that. See it as a parallel dimension. See it as another version of you. You know, on this earth, oh, you can't see my finger. On that earth, I'm not a spiritual person. On this earth, and by the way, you can see the cat bit me yesterday. On this earth, um, I'm reaching millions of people with the work and the awareness and consciousness teachings. But we have to feel at one with them. We have to know that it exists. So, one of the things we have to ask ourselves, and again, going back to the beginning of this talk and what I was saying, was that with the intention, we create the thought form and we release it. With the process of switching dimensions, not only are we creating the thought form and feeling it and connecting with it, but it becomes a reality that we draw into our life, or that we draw ourselves into. I'm hoping that makes sense. Let me check the chat. Yes, good. Anyway, so what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to walk you through a little bit of a guided, I don't want to say meditation, but a contemplation. So let's take a moment and think of a version of us. First of all, we need to pick out what that version is. Pick out a version of you that you would like to experience. Is it abundance? Is it health? Is it love? Is it et cetera, et cetera? Is it being a doctor? Is it being a YouTube creator? Is you know, think about it and pick a version of you that exists somewhere on another reality. So hopefully you've picked out a version. And now, if you want to, you can close your eyes, but you don't have to. What I'd like you to do is the same exact thing that we do with an intention, is to see that life. What does it look like? What does it make you feel like? What kind of vibes does it make you feel? What does it inspire in you? What feelings and emotions does it inspire within you? That alternate reality. Okay, now we're going to switch dimensions, come back to this plane of consciousness, this awareness, this version of you. What vibes does this particular version of you inspire? What are you vibing in this particular reality? Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it lack? Or is it everything that you already have and you're just bringing in more? Okay, and then now we're going to switch back to that dimensional reality of that other version of you that you want to bring into your life. What does that look like? How does it make you feel? What people, what places are in that reality? And then this would be your focus. This would be the long-term work. The switching of dimensions and switching our focus is the key here. Learning, well, the key to shamanism is to be able to alter your state of consciousness at will, and that's what we're doing here. It's another way of saying it, altering our state of consciousness at will, altering our focus in different dimensional vibrations of us, and seeing ourselves within those different vibrational dimensions, our different versions. Because every version of you is living in some alternate version of reality. Every version of us. The good, the bad, the ugly, the rich, the poor, the healthy, the unhealthy. Because somewhere along the line, a timeline is created. So with that being said, I really like, I'm going to read to you directly, word for word, what, not necessarily word for word, yes, I am. I like this walkthrough. There's a walkthrough on this, so hopefully that'll help. So, a year ago, I might have described myself as my default vibe as it relates to my social life with words like overwhelmed, drained, repetitive, boring, mostly online, endless, cyclical, predictable, shallow, routine, lame, avoidance, stress. My social reality at the time included lots of email, very active on my Facebook pages and my fan pages, lots of friends and contacts from around the world that I would keep in touch with. I was socially active, but not in a way that I truly enjoyed. My kinds of thoughts, what kinds of thoughts did this spawn? Made me think things like people are too needy, I need to get away from this, I have a backlog of emails that I need to process, I need to hire an assistant, I don't have so many friends, I wish I didn't have so many online friends, I do not want to deal with this, why do those forum members have to keep fighting? So what was the new vibe I wanted to create instead of this? I can describe it with words like balanced, friendly, connected, laughing, happy, intimate, flowing, deep, peaceful, fun, engaging, smiles, hugs, love, joy, freedom. My new vibe was something that I experienced in the past and also during peak social experiences. I could load up by recalling certain memories or by visualizing a scene where I was hanging out with local friends and having deep discussions. My old vibe was mired in obligation. I wanted my new vibe to be congruent with choice and freedom. So I focused on holding onto this new vibe and things began to shift. Again, the focus. What are we holding? We have experienced, even within our own life, whether it be long or short, however old you are, we've experienced happiness, we've experienced joy, we've experienced stress, we've experienced being obligated, we've experienced being too busy, we've experienced being bored. So you'll notice that a lot of the times when I do this type of work, when we're doing a meditation especially, I'll say, and you will remember everything so you can recall it at a future time. This is one of the many tools you can use in switching your dimensional timeline and this focus, or in this reality. So it's all about the focus. What are we going to focus on? What are we going to bring into our life? That's not to say that life doesn't happen. That's not to say that we could switch dimensional awareness multiple times throughout the day. But it's with that greater awareness of knowing that I know there is a dimension where I am retired living on a beachside villa. There isn't a dimensional awareness of that. There is a dimensional there's a dimensional reality. I'm sorry, dimensional reality where I am living on a cruise ship and just traveling around the world all the time. You know, and yeah, some of these I want to do. We'll see. But they exist, and it's in knowing that they exist and being able to feel that feeling and being able to focus on that is what's going to do it. Now, today, of course, this is literally one part of the first part. Again, I wanted to kind of just play with this, see how it went, talk to you a little bit about it. I am considering doing the full course. The course will be like a 5-hour course. This is only a piece of a piece. But I thought it was an interesting topic, and I hope that this is something to give all of us food for thought and really reawaken that power of possibility within us, because it is there, and we must remember that we have the power to shift our lives. We have the power to shift our focus, and we have the power to create any reality we want. And I don't mean that in our head, I mean like here on the ground. Stay focused, stay grounded, but focus on the life you want to bring into this reality. Anyway, everybody, so I'm running out of time, and I hope that I hope this gave you some. Oh, I see Kat. Hi, Kat, on Facebook. Anyway, I hope this gave you some food for thought. Like I said, I may be going into this further, do some type of course or something. Some new platform has asked me to become a guest teacher for them. So I am going to be writing a course for them. This might be it. I don't know. It's a brand new platform. I'll let you know more about it when I have a meeting with them on Thursday, and I'll get more info as to when I'll debut on their site. It's a social media site that is based on classes. So I kind of like that. Social media meets those class websites or whatever. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. I want to thank everybody, by the way. I've had a lot of support lately as far as you all donating to keep the show going. So I want to thank you so much for that. Keep me going. Please consider becoming a subscriber. Please consider becoming a supporter, a patron, etc. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. I love you all very, very much. You take care now. And I will talk to you soon.